KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Or the goat.
Or the goat. Exactly. The goat always yells.
I know how much Kim loves the goat. She looks at you and goes, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, you think
Like, did you really do that?
Well, I'm going to do a shout out to Myra Johnson this week. We met her over at the Intero networking thing. It was April Fool's Day. And
Yes.
Of course, I thought they were going to we were going to show up for the networking event. There'd be no event. And that was a joke, right? But no, they actually had a great event. Myra Johnson with Monogram Residential has agreed to come on the show.
Yes, that is correct. She's
Tall,
gonna bring us
beautiful
some
young
guests.
woman, and she sent me cookies.
I know.
Turns out she's in real estate.
she did not send me cookies, but she sent you cookies.
Well, you know, what can I tell you?
But, if she's listening to the
Love
show,
that.
hint, hint.
So anyhow, I wanted to do a shout out to her, and we look forward to her on the 18th, and she's going to snag two top professionals who do relocations in rentals.
Wow,
We've not done
okay.
a lot on rentals in the past, and that's
Okay.
a big part of our market. Every year, but probably the last 5 years, we've gone up about 20% in rentals.
Wow.
And we've talked about the rental generation coming up, is that a lot of them are coming out of college strapped with, debt.
Right.
And so they're opting to rent. Of course, and a lot of them just don't know.
Some people
they
would
could
say
buy
buried in debt.
Yes, yes, exactly. And buried in debt. So, if you get a master's degree, you could be $150,000-$200,000 in debt pretty easily.
Well, and the other thing, Ted Jones, we were at him at the WCR event. That, by the way, that Tim O'Neill comped us very nicely on, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Tim. But, Ted Jones was talking about the growth in that multi-tenant, multi-unit market right there, about how it's just, absolutely boom. Now, we're going to see a little bit of subsiding in regards to some of that build-out, which I think is pretty good, actually, because there's a lot of them going up. But if you see what's going on in Houston over the past probably 5 years in regards to those type of structures, it just goes to show the demand that we have.
Yeah, well, we talk about this a lot. The developers will say, we have a need for, rentals and high-end rentals. So they go out and build it. And then, about 100 other developers get the same idea. They don't really talk amongst themselves. And so all of a sudden you've got a lot of projects coming online, and we were able to fill them for a while. But now we're getting to the point, it's like, okay, we've overbuilt again. It's that cycle we get into.
Always is.
It's always been a cycle, and we'll overbuild, and then we'll catch up, and then we'll overbuild and catch up, and it's not going to change.
Right. I would absolutely agree.
So I don't know that we really have a show today. We thought we'd get a bunch of guys together we like and talk about stuff.
This is the guy stuff show. We got some great guys in the studio.
We have a bunch of random folks. Random people.
Basically, we just kind of invited everybody we ran into. Hey,
everyone that we hang out with all the time. That is correct.
I'm trying to figure out if that was a compliment or not. I don't know.
And that is the great Michael Roddy.
Yes.
Today's show is what happens when you're having cigars and drinking wine together.
Let me ask you.
Hey, you want to be on the show tomorrow? Why not?
Is anybody else showing up that we don't know about yet? Anyway, we have Vaughan Pederson in the house with clean air.
Yes.
Say hi, Vaughan.
Yes.
Good morning and hello. It's good to see all of you here this morning.
And we always enjoy having you with us. He's a great friend and has a great business. And, of course, you just heard from Michael Roddy. Wasn't sure he got complimented it or not, but it was a compliment, Michael. Just take it that way. And, of course, the great Tim O'Neill with State Farm, one of our absolutely outstanding
waving
sponsors.
in the corner for those visually impaired by the limitations
waving in the corner,
of radio
shaking his
waves.
head.
So I thought we'd probably talk about what we want to talk about.
Well, you can talk about anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off by talking about something. I had a compliment that we did here when I walked in the studio. Vaughan Pederson with Clean Air, let me tell you, there was a case that he recently did up on the north side of town. And let me tell you, they ranted and raved about how good the service was, how clean the home smelled afterwards, how fresh it was. And most people don't realize this. A lot of times when you walk into a home and you are struggling with issues associated with, mold, or you're struggling with issues associated with smell or pet odor, or just simply somebody's cooked in the same spot for 20 years in a row, let's say, Let me tell you what Vaughan does in regards to getting rid of those smells.
It's a miracle.
And this is a really good close friend of mine who attests and says it's absolutely the most amazing thing she's ever seen.
I don't know why you're not swamped, because I think it's a modest charge. It kills bacteria, it kills mold, it kills a lot of things, and it does it in 24 hours.
Yep.
Well, this is, and thank you very much for the referral, Chris. I really appreciate that.
Anytime, bud.
This was a good friend of Chris's, and I got a call while I was in the truck driving, and it was Chris, and it was his friends in the car. And tell them a little bit about Jody and her husband and what they do.
Well, Jody is a great agent up on the north side. She's actually with the Doug Erdy Group up there. And, just a very good, top-notch agent. And her husband actually is a builder for one of the big building companies actually here in town. So,
that's right, Perry Homes. Right?
Perry Homes, that is correct. So, they know a lot about real estate and about building, fortunately. So they definitely know a lot right there. And like I said, and they had an instance in which they needed to resolve some sporulation and some smell.
Well, they had a situation when you opened the show. You're talking about
Really?
Sporalization. Yes,
that's what he told. He taught me that, by the way. I was on the conference call with Vaughan.
So yeah, and I appreciate you giving me the heads up that you're in the car on speakerphone. That's always a good idea.
Yeah, I started off by saying, "Hey, Vaughan, by the way, this is Chris Kelso. I'm on the speakerphone. I have guests, so don't say anything inappropriate." And he said, "Me?
Why would I do that?" You opened the show talking about renters.
He's one of those friends.
This particular situation with this home was that there were renters in the home. And in many cases, you're talking about people renting and this thing. They don't have any skin in the game. It's not their home. So if a leak occurs, they'll just let it go for a couple of months. And that's what happened. A leak was occurring in the bathroom. The renters paid no attention to it, did not let the landlord know. And by the time they figured it out, why they had a terrible mold problem. And they actually had to remove the floor, the tile, the subfloor. There was about a 4-foot by 4-foot hole in the garage ceiling up to that bathroom. And when that happens and you start removing the moldy areas, mold sporulates. It means it becomes airborne. The spores go airborne.
Sporalization.
That's sporalization. We like big words here. It makes us feel
we have
smart.
to have it back to the shop by next Monday.
That's right. I've got one of those word of the day calendars. You're lucky I wasn't here yesterday. Anyway,
that sporilified.
Sporilified. There was a problem, and you could smell it, and you could feel it. And actually, Jody had mentioned that when they had been in the house, both of them had felt sick and got headaches, and that's quite common, actually, when you have that serious a situation. But thank you for that referral. I got out there right away. They removed the offending material. I was able to get in, apply the clean air process, which in this case was 24 hours, using electrocatalytic technology, more large words, and totally took care of the problem. It's not expensive, and did a good job for them, and they're very happy, and that's what it's about. Almost all my business comes by referral, and I'm never too busy for your referrals, so thank you for that.
Vaughn, I got a question about, suppose you found yourself in say a radio studio with a bunch of guys who've been out all night smoking cigars.
Okay.
And there was sort of this little faint cigar, odor, let's say.
A little aroma left over.
What could you do about, cigar residual funk?
Well, I actually was the guy.
Well, that's the technical term.
I was actually the guy that fixed the smoke problem in the cigar bar that was over in Upper Kirby.
The one is no longer there.
Was it? Yeah, the one that's not there anymore. But they went from Downing Street. Yeah, they went from
cigar
smoking,
residual funk.
They went from smoking to non-smoking. They smoked in there for a couple decades,
Or
I guess,
CRF.
at least 20 years. And they'd had somebody else come out and treat it several times. It didn't work. I came in less than 24 hours, and you could walk in and you would smell no smoke. In fact, I've fixed places where they've gone into a building, pulled a half-burned log out of the fireplace, and you hold it up to your nose, and you don't smell smoke when I'm done treating the house. So
is your building suffering from CRF, also known as cigar residual funk?
Yeah.
Well,
They call
Vaughan
clean air.
Pederson. When I get home from the Heights Cigar Lounge, I just hang my clothes up in the laundry room and run the machine for 15 minutes and take care
We're
of
going
it.
to send Paul an invoice now, too.
That is true.
But
Well, I'll tell you, your service is excellent. I will tell you this: you got out there immediately. You know, and like I said, you're the name I give out when it comes to cigar residual funk issues and anything else.
Mold, cat odor. I do cat houses, the type where there's cats been living in the house.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. Vaughan Pederson does cat houses.
It's houses that have had animals in them.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And that's...
Are humans considered
You
animals?
really don't want to run into cigar residual funk in a cat house.
That's true. And I imagine it occurs to.
That's a double problem.
You know, I think what happens is you get kind of put in the same category as those people who come out and brush the inside of ducks and things like that. And we
the
know
duck does not like it, trust me.
The ducks don't like it. But there's some problems with that, and it doesn't really last.
I don't recommend that people have their ductwork in their home brushed out, because when companies come out and start pushing things through the vents, they can pull the tape joints apart, and then you've got a real nightmare in that kind of a situation. What I do is a sterilization process. Basically sterilizes the inside of all the ductwork, the AC system, all the surfaces in the home, the drapes, the carpet, the paint, the walls, everything, and just sterilizes it. In fact, doctors refer me to their patients who have autoimmune disorders and other problems associated with cancer treatments, so I can make their house safe for them to live in. So it's also a treatment that's done for people's health as well as just odors and mold.
Yeah, well, it's a great service. And how do people get a hold of you?
But I say, you know, let's give how they can get a hold of you, because I know people are dying to call you right now.
My number is 832-276-6000. The company is Clean Air, and I better spell it because it's easy to get it wrong. It's CLEANEAIR.com. It's all one word, CLEANEAIR.com.
Cleanair.com.
So we've got Mr. Michael Roddy over here. He's just sitting there quietly going, yeah, I'm listening to all this stuff. But I know you got stuff. What's going on in your world?
It is all very interesting stuff. I was just sitting back and listening to Vaughan talk, and I happened to be looking around, and they brought this chair in for me that I think came out of an elementary school, because I'm sitting closer to the floor than anybody here.
That's all.
And you're the tallest one.
Don't you remember Robert J. Ringer's book, Winning by Intimidation? The first thing he did is everybody he put in front of him, he put in low chairs so he could peer over them. And
I think it's working.
I don't get that perspective very often, you know?
Hey, Roddy, push the button on the left-hand side. It's got hydraulics in the chair.
I tried it. And
Hydraulics are busted.
It's got hydraulics. It'll jump up and down.
The hydraulics are out.
You can get the front end to bounce even. It's
Now,
cool.
Michael, let everybody know what you do, by the way, and who you're with, if you don't mind.
I am a residential real estate advisor, an expert in residential real estate.
Yes, you are.
And I am with Remax Memorial Town and Country. I have been.
Fix that.
Yes. Maybe,
you can definitely tell we're all
maybe
friends.
talking with a company that starts with a B.
There you go.
Yes. Been a realtor for the past 18, going into my 19th year. Wow. And with this particular company, with the Remax office that I office out of, I am going into my 15th year with them.
Wow. Let me tell you, for all those listening, great individual, great person, great agent. But, you know, I always tell everybody it's the best thing is to qualify somebody on who they are as a person, and just a quality individual right there. You know, I can't believe you hang out with all of us.
Somebody that truly puts his clients first. I've watched them in action, and that is what we are charged with doing, is put your clients' needs before your own needs.
Oh, yeah.
Because your needs will get met if you do the first.
Well, you know, I always say if you do the right thing, then the right thing happens. You know, if you do the wrong thing, then the wrong thing is simple thing of supply and demand sort of type thing, right?
Sure,
so,
absolutely. And thank you for the nice compliments. It's very nice of you.
We keep Michael Roddy in our cigar group to meet OSHA smile
quota
requirements. Yeah, quotas. Yeah.
But let me tell you, you know, and this.
I don't think I've ever seen him not smiling.
No, I don't think
well, that was actually my nickname growing up. Was Smiley.
Smiles?
Really?
It was
Smiley.
Smiley. Yes, that was a nickname.
You know, that's going to stick.
That makes a
now
lot
on.
of sense.
Yeah, you know, when that came out of my mouth, I was thinking maybe I should not.
Hey, boys, it's Smiley.
Well, you know, time flies when you're having fun, and we are 15 minutes in, still have 45 minutes to go, but we are coming up against a break right now.
Well, we got to pay for the show.
We got to pay for it somehow, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This hit that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Styling, wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too